Good morning. Thank you. Welcome to 1 Million Cups. In case you're in the wrong place, just want you guys to know that this is 1 Million Cups, but don't go to the other place yet. Stay with us. This is an event promoted and created by the Kauffman Foundation for Entrepreneurship, launched just about 2 years ago in Kansas City with one little chapter. We're now in more than 40 cities nationwide, and we shall be international before the end of the year. So the target is 70 cities, including one, maybe two international cities before the end of the year. This is coming in. Now you get to sing. This is by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs. There's a group of us here who volunteer. Right there is David, one of our organizers, sweating right now in Arizona, getting her certification as a yoga instructor is Shay, so she's not here and she's not watching. And she probably wishes she was right now because I understand it's really grueling. And then somewhere in Kansas City, everybody say, "Hi, Nancy." Yeah, she's in Kansas City, and Natalie is not feeling well. So, but come by next week, and you'll see everybody else that's currently not here. Just by show of hands, who's here for the first time at 1 Million Cups? Awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. So, the format is very simple. It's a 6 minutes presentation. It's a 20 minutes Q&A. For those who have heard me say that before, you can groan loudly. This is not Shark Tank, it's Guppy Tank. We're not here to be destructive, we're here to be constructive. So it's by the community, for the community, and this is an environment for entrepreneurs, irrespective of the platform, to feel comfortable in and come in and share their ideas. So we encourage you to stay afterwards, talk to your friends, make new friends, share your ideas, exchange business cards, and continue to learn. We're going to, halfway through this, we'll talk a little bit more about who's involved as well and who's helping us out. But I have one big ask of you guys. How many of you have a Twitter or Instagram account? If you can raise your hand, please. Awesome. So if you look right here, we have Barney's Coffee. I need you guys to tweet at them and Instagram them. And the reason behind it is that they gave us free coffee for today. But we want them to continue. Right? There's always a hook. So if we can push out at least 50 pictures or tweets at them and thank them for the coffee, that would go a long way in making our life easier and get a better ask for next week. Maybe they will even brew it for us, because right now we brew the coffee. So it would be an awesome thing if they just delivered brewed coffee. It would be great for everyone, and we would be really ecstatic. So you can find any of those. 1 Million Cups Orlando already tweeted at them and retweeted, so you can retweet that if you don't want to get creative. These are all the Twitter handles for the organizers as well, so feel free to give us a shout out. We love that. And without any further ado, we're going to have our first presenter come up to the podium. That's Quatro, right? Quatro Solutions, here you go. There you go, Spencer, take it away.
So this is actually my first time at 1 Million Cups. I was told about this last Wednesday by Kunal from Fiken Media, and he told me that I should apply, so I applied, and then I got a call on Monday from Ron, and he's like, "Hey, you want to present?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, sure. When?" Wednesday. So I was like, okay, sounds great. So I kind of threw this quick presentation together because, as an entrepreneur, we all have to be flexible and ready to go at a moment's notice. So I apologize if it's a little crude, but hopefully you'll all get the point. Quatro Solutions, who we are. We provide tablets and the resources necessary for a successful digital curriculum implementation into schools. So what that means is we manufacture a device built on the Android platform, and then we bring in a number of partnerships and resources to make sure that schools have a successful and efficient way to improve their digital curriculum. So I'm going to build a little picture for you, starting here. You guys remember how you used to read the newspaper, right? Some of you don't because you're too young, but I do, because I was in the generation where there was newspaper stands, and on Sunday morning, I'd open up the sports page to find out what's going on in the world. But you all know what smartphones and devices have done to print media, right? And guess where all those newspapers have gone? And hopefully this is going to discontinue in the near future. Because all of our media, all of that what used to be a print, in print form, is going to go into a much more easily consumable, readily available format through your smartphones and devices. Now, books are going to go the same way, right? So I love this little picture right here because I look through, like my business partner and I, we constantly go through to different places, and there's a lot of people that are pushing certain things, and we'll say, man, that's a typewriter. You know, what's the future? The future of our of schooling, which is scary for a lot of people, but I think when you understand the impact that these digital resources are having on students and children, you know, you'll recognize that, yeah, it is important that we continue to push and move into the digital age for our students and for America, frankly, for our future American workforce. So this is kind of interesting. Kids learn to learn on technology. My business partner, this is actually my business partner's son right here. He's 4 years old. Before he could even speak, he knew how to knew how to unlock the tablet, open applications, and play with applications before he could speak. Now, you all know how long smartphones and devices have been out there. This is how our generation is learning to learn. You know, literally before they can speak, and they're learning how to speak with these devices. They're learning better. They're learning how to enunciate. They're learning how to spell. There's so many different great applications out there for these students to learn with that are really interactive and engaging, that it's really transforming how people learn. And just one quick example: we ran a pilot program at a Florida charter school, and it was ninth grade algebra. And in this ninth grade algebra class, they typically test every 30 days using a standardized test, preparing for their end of course exams. Now, in this during this testing period, they typically expect about a 3 to 5% improvement in the overall retention and understanding of the material that's being presented. We came in and ran a pilot with our devices and brought in some of our partnerships in order to get the students really engaged in how to learn. And they had a 240% improvement over their normal expected results. So they expected about a 4% improvement. We achieved almost a 15% improvement in 30 days. So that tells a big story about how students learn, how they want to learn, you know, and how this technology can really engage students and transform their comprehension and understanding. So I typically use the example of a hub and spoke, so we have the device, and so if you think of a bicycle tire, like our device is the bicycle tire, and then you have a bunch of spokes that go on. That go out to different partnerships and different ways that we can integrate our device into schools. Now this looks maybe more like a weird spider or awkward tarantula, but you get the idea. So not only do we manufacture an affordable device, but we're the hub connecting the necessary spokes to make sure that a digital curriculum implementation is successful, because it's not just about buying devices and giving them to students. That's not a digital curriculum implementation. A digital curriculum implementation has a purpose. It has a goal in mind. It's organized. It's structured. So there's MDM, for those of you who don't know what that is. That's mobile device management. That's a whole initiative within schools. It can be very complicated because you have certain compliance standards that you have to meet when you give these devices to K through 12 students. There's content management. How are you going to house and store and disseminate the information that's that is going digital? Interesting partnership that we have there. we can actually put information from the CK12 Foundation, from Khan Academy, from Bozeman Science, from MIT, all of these free resources, we can embed it into one content management system, and it's absolutely free, Common Core compliant, and the best part about it is it's going to blow away any other textbook that those kids have, that those students have. Repair and replacement, so you may be familiar with uBreak iFix. They're a partner of ours. We can repair any device in any of their locations throughout the United States. We're working on a scalable plan right now to where we can go anywhere in the nation and pair them up with a uBreak iFix location to fix and repair any devices. We have device insurance that's very, very affordable. So if a device is stolen, broken, whatever, they can get those devices taken care of. We have teacher training. We have a partnership with a company that's going to, right now we're actually going on site to train, but that's going to change in the near future because we're going to be completely mobile. We're going to have digital platform for training on demand. We can provide financing for schools through partnerships, and we have a project management plan. So most of us in our company, we come from a project management background, so we have a full project management plan that we put together to help schools. Some of our implementations at work, we're in Seminole County. This is one of our large implementations there to help their ESOL students, English as a second language students. We're in STEM programs. You may hear something about us and a partnership that we have with the Orlando Science Center very soon. That's going to be really exciting. We're in social science, language arts, autism centers. We have a number of implementations all through the United States right now. We've been selling our devices since February, I guess? No, I take that back. April of last year is when we actually had our first sale, and we're in 9 states, and we're growing. We're growing. It's a lot of fun. Absolutely. All right, so the ask, we're looking for angel investors, connections to superintendents and district technology directors, and also if you could like us on Facebook. All right. All right, questions?
I'm a teacher and I run a small educational company.
Uh-huh.
Can you take my content and make it digital for us?
No, we have, okay, so the question was, can we take a teacher's content and make it digital for them? No, but we have the partnership where we can provide everything that you need to do that. So if you have basically worksheets and whatnot, all you need to do is convert that into a PDF, and then you can house that in one of our content management partnerships, and you can be off and running. Always. We're always looking for digital content partners that are going to improve what we can offer to schools, because really we're kind of even though we focus on providing the device and our project management plan, and then we bring in all of these resources for schools as advice on how to successfully implement, because every school is different. So each school is its own project, and we run from K through 12. So it can be any age range, but yeah, we're always looking for new partnerships.
So let's say I have a small private elementary school, 500 students, and I want to get this program up and running in the
Yep.
classroom. How much is it going to cost me?
It depends. Always depends. But it really depends on, okay, so our device it comes with a case, keyboard, the device, all the cables that you need, plus our initial support. That's all going to cost you $300 per device. And so that's putting together the project management plan, figuring out what exactly you need. If we need to come on site for I guess, more intensive training, things like that, then there's a fee for that as well. And then we also have charging carts, like if you need charging carts for the devices, if you need additional chargers, things like that. Like it can all depend. But from a market standpoint, we're one of the lowest priced devices out on the market, and especially for what we offer for the services, there's no one that really competes with our price right now. Any other questions? Great question. Great question. Yeah. So, obviously this is a commoditized device, and its lifespan is roughly 3 years. So, we have insurance plans to help extend warranties so that the device can extend past 3 years. But we currently do not have a lease program. We do have financing options that can help you pay for these devices over time. But we're currently looking into different leasing models. We just haven't found one that works for us right now. Yes. Correct. Yeah. Yep. I'm sorry?
Do you plan to go into higher education?
Oh, the question was higher ed. I'm sorry, I'm not repeating those questions. Yeah, our plans for higher education, we have actually had a couple universities approach us, and we're kind of in the initial stages of figuring out what's going to work for that as far as providing a device for every freshman incoming student. It's a little bit different because the way that a typical K-12 school works is quite a bit different than how your higher ed institution works. But yeah, we're currently working on that right now, on that plan. Yeah.
Do you support any direct connection with the classroom so that students, let's say 2 or 3 new students, need to connect to the class, they can do so?
So the question was, do we support homeschool students in connecting with maybe a larger class, or like a MOOC or something like that? We just got done with a homeschool conference down south. We're looking into that model right now. What we prefer is we want to sell on an institutional level, because when you sell on a per client basis, it's a whole different model. Like if you're selling through Best Buy, so your service plans, the amount of people that you have to have available for troubleshooting and whatnot, it's a totally different model. Right now, we're set up to run lean and mean, and that's how we want to continue to operate. So I'm not sure if that's a road we're going to travel down, but we're looking into it, and we're trying to figure out if that's something that'll work for us. Other questions? Yeah. No, it's built on the Android platform, so anything on the Google Play Store is available. Yep. Our hardware is constantly changing. We want to make sure that we're putting out a competitive product with the market. So yeah, we're making improvements. Although I will say we're making improvements slower than other people, simply because we want to make sure that when we do release a new update, that it's going to be compatible with all of our partnerships, because we want to make sure that the platform is completely stable, and that when we bring in a new device, it's not going to, something's not going to work on it. We want to make sure everything's going to work properly. Yeah. Yes, absolutely, yeah. Because we typically don't take any fees from our partnerships. We sell the device, and then we bring those partnerships and that consultation in as a value add based on the purchase of our device. Well, the great thing is that the partnerships that we bring in for mobile device management and content, they're mostly device agnostic platforms. So the idea is we're not going to lock you into always purchasing our device. So if we go into a school and we provide our devices and that school chooses to go with, say, iPads the year later and spend 3 times more for an iPad, then what we've brought in will still work with them. Yeah. Other questions? Yep.
So in terms of okay, so I'm a teacher and my current, I don't understand K-12 content development, curriculum development, but I'm a teacher. How much flexibility does this provide me over what I had before? Was I issued a book and I had to teach from this book?
Okay.
Or now is there
Yeah.
like a store, like, an
Sure.
app store of
Yeah.
content that I can build a curriculum from?
Absolutely. There's so many options for you. I would say that, so if you're a teacher that's really ambitious, that really wants to start bringing in a lot of this really interactive digital curriculum, digital media, things like that, there's going to be a lot of work on the front end. Now on the back end, your life is going to be so easy because everything is going to be you're making everything an automated process. So like with your lesson plans, we can teach we can show a teacher through Google Apps for Education, because we have Google Apps for Education certified instructors, on how to set up your lesson plans through Google, and then you can simply just recycle and tweak those lesson plans. As far as the content, you can once you have the content and videos and whatnot that you want in your content management system, then you can just tweak and recycle that year over year, and continue to make it better. With mobile device management, you can, there's ways to, push out certain apps, and once you get familiar with that, it's a little work on the front end and learning how to utilize those platforms, but then it becomes easy and seamless once you have everything set up. So again, it's going to be a lot more work and kind of intimidating on the front end, but on the back end, your life and your job is going to be so much easier, but it's going to free you up to really be a teacher, because you're no longer going home to grade papers. Those papers are going to be graded automatically for you when the student submits those through Google Apps. And when you're trying to understand like where your students are in any given day, we have partnerships where we can turn these devices into interactive whiteboards with real-time assessments and real-time data analytics, so that you can see, okay, well, 30% of my students don't understand this topic. I can reteach this topic right now. And so it's really going to transform your classroom, but also free you up to really be a teacher and not a paper grader. Any other questions?
One more question.
Yep. So, absolutely. Great question. So we differentiate ourselves from everyone else because, one, we provide flexibility. We're not going to lock you into a specific type of content that's going to force you into always purchasing our device. The second thing is our services. We're kind of vertically integrated with our services that we're going to offer a school, whereas if you buy one of our competitors, you're going to have to hire someone else to come in and provide training or services to help understand this environment and integrate that into your classroom. And then the last thing is it would be price. So we're well priced in the market, so it's going to be a much more affordable option for you.
So Spencer, you have your ask for us starting with money. So if anybody brought you a checkbook, make sure, or cash, please have it.
Yes.
And obviously the social media piece. So in a second we're going to put another slide up. So tweet at our presenters and show them some love from the social media standpoint. Go on Facebook, and then Spencer is here for the rest of the morning. So connect with him afterwards. We'll have plenty of opportunity to continue and chat in the center room. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
So, thank you. So if you guys want to do a quick refill on coffee, now's the time. There's still some coffee out on the table. Just do me a favor, be a little careful. We're not supposed to have drinks in here, so make sure you keep an eye on your coffee. Otherwise, Josh is going to have to beat me up, and I'm not looking forward to it. So just be careful with that. I want a little shout out to those that are helping us out and allowing us. So first of all, Rollins College and the Entrepreneurial Center, thank you guys for letting us be here. And the Twitter handle for that department is actually Rollins ENT, correct? So Rollins ENT for Josh and Carrie and Becky was outside earlier. So show them some love from that standpoint. The other thing is obviously continue to tweet at Barney's. How many of you have done that? Awesome. Do it again. Just push it out. Retweet somebody else's. For those of you that came in a little late, we need to show Barney's Coffee a little bit of love because they provide us with coffee this morning, and we want them to do it again. So yeah, exactly. So push it out there and make sure that they know we're appreciating their coffee generosity. So that's really important. And right here, sitting in the corner, quiet but extremely important to us is Rudy with Joycaster. Rudy is live streaming this, so if for whatever reason, especially the UCF students are yawning over there in the corner, there you go, caught you guys. So if next week you don't feel like coming here early in the morning, just you can watch us live online and watch the other presenters. And by the way, that's a really wonderful resource for all entrepreneurs to realize that over 1,000 companies have so far presented at 1 million cups somewhere around the country. And so those videos are typically online archived. And if you have an idea, if something has been intriguing you, you want to launch something, you're more than likely you will find something within that framework, and you can kind of look at what they're doing, look at their presentation, and learn a little bit more about what you can do differently or how your idea has merit or not. Because pivoting early is a wonderful thing. Last but not least, how many of you have heard of this event called Lean Startup Machine? Because I've talked about this before. Awesome. So that's coming up in about 2 weeks. And so we are now almost 50% filled with a few more coming in again. So it's May 16th, 17th, and 18th here at Rollins College. It's a phenomenal way of learning how to find out if your customer cares about your idea. So great tools, great education, very affordable. We even have some coupons for you. So if you're interested in participating, come to me and I'll give you some secret codes that will save some money on the weekend. So reach out to me and I will tell you more about this. And now we're going to, if they're back, yep, that's right. David knows as well. So you guys are here? Awesome. All right, let me grab him. All right, guys.
All right, guys, how's everyone doing? Awesome. All right, should I just go right into it? All right. I love getting stuff delivered. I love everything about it. I ordered a pizza for delivery. I ordered Chinese food for delivery. I order wings for delivery. I order everything. I love the convenience factor. So one day, I was hanging out with a few of my friends and we wanted to order some pizza and beer for the game. So I just went onto Domino's.com, put in what we wanted, and the pizza was there in no time. When it came time to getting the alcohol, it was a different story. We had to get up. We had to get into our cars. We had to drive to the liquor store. We had to navigate through the maze of inventory. We had to wait in line, and we had to deal with a lot of sketchy people. Why couldn't it be that you could just reach into your phone, open up an app, and with a few clicks, order alcohol for delivery? We believe that getting your drinks should be as awesome as drinking your drinks. Now it is. We're DrinkDrivers, and we bring alcohol to your doorstep. There's two major trends going on right now that I want to talk about. On one hand, you have the I want it now economy, where companies across different sectors of the economy are capitalizing on people's desire for convenience and instant gratification. You have Uber. They're operating in the transportation space. They're just valued over $3 billion. You have Grubhub Seamless. They're about to IPO. You have Amazon Prime, where you can go on and order just about anything and get it right away. On the other hand, you have a promising alcohol market. 76% of beer is now bought for home consumption. You put these two trends together, shake it up, and you get one promising cocktail. And we're serving that cocktail to everyone. This isn't some business idea that I came up with for one of my classes at UCF. We've already launched twice. We launched our minimum viable product in August. It was just a really bare bones website with no cool features like credit card saving. And in our beta, we did over $6,000 in sales. We then relaunched, introducing our iOS app and a completely revamped website. Now, any of you can just go onto the App Store, download our iPhone app, and if you're in our delivery radius, order alcohol for delivery. You can do that right now. It almost seems like magic, but there's a lot going on under the hood. For one, we don't do the deliveries ourselves. We operate in a marketplace capacity. So when an order comes through our platform, we dispatch it to one of our retail partners, who then, an employee of that store, then fulfills the delivery. So we don't take on the liability of keeping inventory or actually fulfilling the order. We just work in a middleman capacity, similar to an FTD or Uber. We are currently monetized by taking a percentage of all sales through our platform. While that percentage might be small, when you realize how large the market we're operating in, you can understand the potential. The alcohol for home consumption market is $88.98 billion. And we plan on tapping into this market. Within 5 years, we will be in 285 different locations. And in fact, we recently launched our first expansion in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And the response has been phenomenal. We're now doing thousands of dollars a week processed through our platform. Since launching, we have been picked up by over 50 different news outlets. We've been featured on Fox News, the Miami Herald, and CBS Detroit. Our launch in Michigan was also picked up by the Associated Press and syndicated to 40 different news outlets all over the internet. Right now, as I mentioned before, we're currently monetized by taking percentage of sales through our platform, but there's a bunch of other really exciting ways that we plan on monetizing in the future. On one hand, you have brand promotions. This would be a liquor or beer manufacturer approaching us that would want to push a certain item, and we could feature that item on prime real estate on our app and website. On the other hand, you have consumer insights. We're going to be able to tell liquor and beer manufacturers what kind of people are buying their product, when they're buying their product. Why is a certain age demographic buying Ciroc instead of Grey Goose? If we change the product image on Grey Goose, is that going to change how people interact with it? We are going to completely revolutionize how market analysis is done in this space. So you're probably wondering, is there anyone else doing this? And there's a few other people out there, including Drizzly. They're also a alcohol delivery kind of marketplace. They were recently seed funded $2.25 million. We view this as market validation behind the economics of alcohol delivery. But you wouldn't think that I would come here and pitch you on one guy that's just as good as the other guy, would you? No. Our model is better than Drizzly's. They're monetized by taking a monthly fee from retail partners. As I mentioned before, we only make money when our retail partners make money. So our value proposition is entirely risk-free. Retail stores can lose money by partnering with Drizzly. Right now, Drizzly's operating in Boston, and they just launched in New York City. Other than that, the rest of the country is entirely untapped. Pun intended. We're currently working with the #1 alcohol beverage attorney team in the entire country. They represent companies like Bacardi, Walgreens, and Southwest Airlines. We worked with them on creating the user agreement on our website, as well as the arrangement that we have with retail stores. This arrangement shields us from negligence that might be committed on their end. We've also gone through great lengths to put together a really diverse team. We all bring different skill sets to the table. Nick Bowers, my man right there, is our CTO, and he's an incredibly skilled developer and problem solver. Jeff Castillo, our Chief Creative Officer, is an expert of advertisement and marketing. He is also a skilled graphic designer. I have a finance background, and I'm awesome. Jeff Nadell has led a 10,000 person organization, and he's had startup experience in the past. We are so excited about disrupting this space because there's a lot of different business plans out there. There's business plans that you can jot down on the back of a napkin late night in some diner. There's business plans that you can come up with a class that could be 30 to 45 pages long. There's even business plans that people come up with for competitions. But then there's business plans that you see with your own eyes, being born to the real world, that you can be sure will change an industry, will change how people interact with a product, and will change people's lives. DrinkDrivers is that business. Open to questions.
So with all the different alcohols that you're serving, are you partnering with each organization? Say you get Budweiser, then you get your Coronas. Are you working with each company individually to get your surplus?
So what we do is we partner with retail stores. Oh yeah. All right. So the question was, where do we source the alcohol from? All right. So basically, how it works is we partner with retail stores, like any liquor store that you would see, and we bring them into our network. And based on a certain criteria of where the person is located, how that retailer is ranked, we can then source it to that store, and then they fulfill the delivery.
So like if you have some clients in UCF, you find that store.
Exactly. Yeah, and our deliveries are typically fulfilled within 15 to 30 minutes.
So every liquor store I've been to has got a little bit of a different flavor to it. ABC's got a much broader selection,
Yep.
a lot of wines. Then I've been to some other liquor stores where the selection is all over the place. How do you guys manage your platform to have inventory that reflects what's actually available in that local store?
That's a great question, actually.
Grab this one. All right, hey, I'm Nick, by the way, CTO. The question was, how do we manage our inventory and make sure that people are seeing what's actually available at the store, which delivers to them, right? Each store has its own inventory, and when you put in your location and you get routed to a store, you're only seeing the drinks available to you at that moment in time. So if a store's closed and you get routed to a different store, you're going to see an entirely different inventory. So.
And who puts the inventory in? So like you input all of it, or does the store, and how does it stay up to date?
Right. Currently, we put it in ourselves, and in the future, we're looking for a more scalable solution, which will allow the partners on the back end to be able to keep their inventory up to date.
Yeah, and kind of to add on to that, what we originally did, with our minimum viable product is we basically just added items that we knew the liquor store would never run out of, right? Because you don't want to add something and then the order's placed and then we're out of it. So we had kind of a really basic inventory list, but now we're kind of expanding it out and we're looking for, as Nick said, ways to kind of monitor inventory so that we can let people know before they place an order if if the liquor store is currently out, let's say they only have 2 bottles of Andre Champagne. Not saying you'd order that. I hope not. But let's say you were, and you wanted to order 7 bottles of that, and they only had 5. We're looking at ways of managing that inventory so we could reflect that. All right. Yeah. So the question is, how are we managing the marketplace? How did we get our retail stores and our users? So we got our retailers by just doing cold calls and cold approaches, just going in and basically like evaluating an area, seeing what retail stores are there, and then meeting with all the owners to see which one was most enthusiastic. And that's a really big factor in it, because if you have a retail store where the owner is super passionate about the concept and the business, then they're going to do a great job fulfilling orders in good time and stuff like that. So that's an incredibly important factor insofar as evaluating on the retail end. Now, on the getting users end, that's kind of marketing efforts. And where we're located right now is kind of in college town areas. So we both go to college, so it's kind of easy for us to be able to market to these areas. We have connections in all of them, but we're looking to expand out to more metropolitan areas. One thing that I'll add in right now, just so everyone knows, since I assume a lot of you live in the Orlando area, by August we want to be operating in the majority of Orlando. Right now we're just in the 6-mile radius around UCF, but we're going to expand into the downtown area and all throughout Orlando. So all of you guys will be able to use our product.
Do you want to talk about community managers?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And then to add on to that, at each location we launch, we have a person on the ground, a community manager, if you will, and their responsibility is to really keep up marketing efforts in the area and really drive sales to the platform. These should be people who have connections, if we're operating in a college town, connections with Greek life and with just students in general. And if we're operating in a big city, they should know the organizations and groups which would benefit most from these types of services. Yes.
How do you verify the purchaser?
Yes. Do you want to? Okay.
So basically right now, how it works is users pay for our product, their product beforehand through our platform, right? And then the retail store is then responsible for fulfilling delivery. So it's kind of like bringing the retail store to you. So whatever protocols they would be using in the store, they're bringing over and doing the same thing when they deliver it. But the difference is there's no perverted incentive, because the retail store is getting paid regardless. If someone is under 21, they place an order, in our user agreement, we have the right to keep the money from the order that they place. That being said, this has happened several times and we've had to reject orders. We're a new company, so we have refunded some orders, but in the long run, we don't necessarily have to do that. Another point to add on there is that we're currently working on developing a back-end system that will scan people's address, driver's license, and name through all different databases. This is going to be an API that we can just plug into, and it has an over 99% accuracy rate at determining if someone is over 21. It's used by major online alcohol, wine companies, different stuff like that, insurance companies, any company that needs to do like kind of quick checks on people's ages. So we're working on bringing that into our system. But yeah, good question. That's correct. So that's something new that they're going to have to adapt to? Not necessarily. What? Oh yeah. So the question is, are the retail stores fulfilling the delivery, and also are they adding in a new service? So the answer to that is yes and no. Some already have delivery services in place. Like our partner here in Orlando had a current system in place, but it wasn't standardized like what we have done, like $2.87 delivery. This is the set delivery radius. It would kind of be like you would call them and they would just wing it. They would be like $6 to deliver there, stuff like that. So we're standardizing it for them. Our partner in Ann Arbor did not have an existing delivery service. They added in because they believed in our marketing efforts to be able to bring in delivery volume. And we've, as I mentioned, we've been quite successful over there. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, so basically, as Nick kind of touched up with earlier, we are working in a very similar model to Uber. what Uber does is that when they launch a new area, they bring on a community director, right? And that community director is involved with marketing efforts in that area. So we're looking right now to bring on community directors all over the place. We really want to, as I said before, we have a very ambitious expansion plan, and we plan on hitting up a lot of these places within the next few months. So we're currently looking to bring on really competent marketing people all over the country. And those people are going to be paid mostly based off of a percentage of sales in that area. So they're going to have skin in the game, and their pay is going to be tied into their performance.
So the question was basically delivery radii. How big are they, and how many stores do you need to cover a certain area? Well, it varies store to store and geographic area to geographic area. If you're in a big city with a ton of traffic, your delivery radii are going to be much, much smaller, right? If you're in a college town, one store could potentially service a 6-mile radius or 8-mile radius. So it varies store to store, amount of people they have on staff and capability.
Could that also create a problem if you have two liquor stores in an area, so when the call comes in, gets more businesses that overlap in one area to service?
Okay, so the question is there any overlap with the delivery radii, and does that ruffle any feathers, basically? We define the delivery area, so we can choose to have no overlap. In bigger cities, what is going to be necessary is that we're going to have some overlap, so when liquor store A closes at 10, liquor store B can pick up the order because they don't close until 11, right? So we have an algorithm in place which will route orders intelligently based on which store performs the best. So there's built-in incentives there.
Yeah, and just to add to that, again, we're kind of basing that off of Uber because that same question, is frequently asked, to them, like, how are you dispatching your drivers when someone puts in a request? And the answer is mostly based off of, consumer side, how they're being reviewed. Are they fulfilling deliveries in a timely fashion? What's their prices like? Different stuff like that. And Nick is working on creating an algorithm to do it in a fair way. Right. Yeah. Depends on the flour. Right. So, like I mentioned before, we're partnered with the number one. So I'm going to answer this kind of in two ways. From like how we want to approach responsible drinking, and also from a legal perspective. First, from a legal perspective, we're partnering with the number one alcohol beverage attorney team in the entire country, ranking-wise, and we've worked with them on developing out a user agreement and a partnership. Developing the terms for our partnership with the retail stores that isolates any kind of negligence onto the retail stores. So that liability is on our retail partners. But we strongly believe in promoting responsible drinking. There was a story picked up on us by the Central Florida Future where we were interviewed, and then our business, the reporter went and spoke to the director of Mothers Against Drunk Driving in Orlando, and she expressed incredibly positive sentiments about us, saying that our service could potentially reduce drunk driving in the area. And our service, sure, it makes things more convenient in terms of ordering alcohol, but it also keeps people off the road, and that's what we're really trying to stand for.
And then for the other situation where somebody may have ordered a ton of alcohol and now they have to get back home because they're not intelligent enough to spend the night, right? That is something that we want to approach head on. And like a liquor store, when a habitual drunk walks in the door, they're not legally allowed to sell them alcohol. Well, when they order online through a user account, through an associated email or with a specific credit card, we can track those orders. And it's as easy as flipping a switch to not allow them to order, any more for that night, or ban them for a while, or put a cap on the size of the orders. So that's all something that we'll have to explore, but from a technical side, that's easy to implement. So let's get somebody who hasn't gone yet. All right.
All right, so we're approaching from a two-pronged strategy. We're college students right now, which puts us in a very opportunistic position in terms of marketing efforts, knowing people, knowing the right people in all these different areas. College town areas also tend to be areas of high technological adoption. Uber just launched in Ann Arbor, actually. And they're also somewhat dense areas, but we're looking to explore these big city areas as well. And it's quite possible we launch in a big city this summer, and we're just blown away in terms of sales. But I could talk to you more about this afterwards when we're not on video, about specific sales numbers that we've seen. But yeah.
Well, we are at the end, but they're not leaving, so by all means, you'll have plenty of opportunities to continue the conversation. What is your ask of us? What can we do right now to help you guys besides going online, downloading the app, and buying alcohol?
Yeah, that would definitely be a big help. But yeah, I did a lousy job creating an ask slide. But right now, we're trying to raise a round of capital. We already have some investment committed. So that's our number one priority right now, because we needed to facilitate expansion into big cities and some more college towns time come next fall. And also, if you go on and like us on Facebook, DrinkDrivers, or Instagram, DrinkDrivers as well. And then for Twitter, we have DrinkDrivers at DrinkDrivers UCF and at DrinkDrivers UM. We're going to create new Twitter accounts for every location that we expand to. And you can follow me on Twitter too, I guess, at Craig Bowles. You want to do it?
So before we conclude the event, two things. A, we're now over 90 people have come here to Rollins College. So our ask is next week you each bring one friend so we can, at least get over 100. So that's one of our simple asks. The other one is from a 1 Million Cups Orlando. If you have not gone on our Facebook page and liked us, please do that. And if you haven't signed up for our newsletter, please go online and sign up for that as well. That way you'll know who is presenting each week. We send it one email, that's it, on Tuesday morning, so that way you guys are alerted as to who the presenters are. And it also gives you information on how to watch it through live stream if you wish to. Again, please pick up your cups. There's a trash can right outside. Thank you very much. See you next week. Oh, how many of you parked in the main parking lot, by the way? There's a stamp right there on the table. Grab it, stamp it, and parking is free. Thank you, Rollins.